Welcome in Monday morning, Blue Sky Live here with you, starting a bye week with Ole Miss as they are coming off the huge 28-10 win over the Georgia Bulldogs on Saturday. Now an open week prior to the final two games of the season, that being the trip to Florida to face the Florida Gators and back at home for the regular season finale, against Mississippi State. So we'll discuss where Ole Miss now sits moving forward. We'll do our final put bow on Georgia game and look at where Ole Miss gets to just hang around for 14 days and maybe see some chaos. And if nothing else, where their standing will improve over the course of the next 2 weeks. All that and more coming up on today's show. Show brought to you every day by Blue Sky locations all over the state of Mississippi, including Sweet Daddy's locations all over the state of Mississippi. You get, ribs, pulled pork, side items, desserts, plenty more, including those lunch specials, including here locally in Oxford. They're $5.69, two sides, bread, any size fountain drink there with Blue Skies up and down I-55 and throughout North Mississippi as well. And again, we are coming to you from the Clark Ford studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi. 662-257-1900 is the number. Call it. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you are interested in. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do. Let's hop into a Clark Ford today. 662-257-1900. Guests will join this week on the Campbell Clinic hotline. From fractures and sports injuries to complex spine and limb conditions, the pediatric orthopedic physicians at Campbell Clinic in Oxford are the only specialized orthopedic team in North Mississippi providing expert care for growing bodies. Visit campbellclinicoxford.com to schedule an appointment or call 901-759-3111.
We're going to get into plenty of football here, but I was kind of laughing as far as somebody got fired. You know, the movie Wicked is coming out like next week.
I did not know that.
Okay, the Broadway musical turned to movie. Ariana Grande plays one of the characters coming out. So they've done a huge deal of toys, merchandise. This is one of the big kind of like blockbuster deals. It's all encompassing from the movie studio. So when they put out on the box, please check out, wicked.com for all the movie stuff. The URL is wickedmovie.com. Wicked.com is a pornographic website, and that has gone out on the packaging of a large number of U.S.-based toys and products related to the movie Wicked. Someone got fired, and plenty more someone's got yelled at.
I would think.
Some CEO went, great, awesome.
Probably should have fact-checked that one.
A little bit, yeah. Also, what would you do here? New York Jets are not going to win Super Bowl. Feel pretty certain about that. 2 games out of the last playoff spot. They're a disaster. If I were to coach. The guy who is trying to hit a 5-for-5 parlay for $1 million. So he gets on the internet. He puts in 5 teams to win their championships. He bet $51.62 on this. If all 5 hit, he would have won $1 million, $1,073.49. He had UConn to win the men's NCAA tournament. They did. He had Boston Celtics to win the NBA championship. They did. He had the Florida Panthers to win the NHL title. They did. And he had the LA Dodgers to win the World Series. They did. He has the New York Jets. He can cash out for $868 right now. Do you just take your $750 profit or $820 profit, whatever it is?
Yeah.
Or do you hold out hope and go, maybe they get hot, baby?
I mean, I don't know what
it's only $800, so at some point.
I don't know what his financial situation is, but I'd probably just take the money.
How am I feeling this close to Philadelphia? I just want it over. That is where I'm feeling right now. I have never dreaded and wanted something over more a day in my life. That is 100% where I'm sitting here. 10, 11 days out, whatever it is. Yeah. I just want it over. No, 13 days out. Sorry.
I get it.
Yeah, I'm finished. So, it's maybe the one negative of doing the post-game shows. I don't see a lot of the reaction right after because you're running and stuff, and I'm not reading. I mean, I miss a lot of stuff kind of as things are ending. And as I've been catching up on chatter, a lot of questions about biggest and whatever, and I'm not really worried about that. I don't think that even really, I mean, whether this or something in 1968 being bigger is completely irrelevant in my mind. However, I do think from a significant standpoint, Ole Miss has this opportunity where, and I'm just kind of answering you guys because you've asked a lot, Now you have to consolidate. You have to finish it. You have to beat Florida and beat Mississippi State for anything else to matter, obviously. And I'm going to say that one time, kind of like the Few Good Men thing, where he goes, "Hey, we're going to just say this, and then I don't have to say it again, and we can all move on." So everything is in the juxtaposition of that. But it is the most significant win in Ole Miss football history if you win these next two games, because you made the playoff in the modern era that has so much more just sort of stakes on it as a sport at this point. And I saw Walker Jones right before the game started on Saturday, and we just kind of exchanged pleasantries. I was headed to the bathroom, frankly, and made some comment about how he made some comment about how it was either a 10-day or a 0-day, because if you lose, the playoffs over. You don't know what the collective's going to do. You have all these things, and we've talked about how NIL and collectives and all are so momentum based. And no matter what, the house settlement's going to come in at earliest July 1st, which means you're still doing this entire portal class. You're still getting ready for next season through this system. We are not doing revenue sharing system at this point. And instead, they win the game where if you win these next two and you make the playoffs, no matter what you do from that point forward, it is mission accomplished. It is absolutely where you were trying to be, and that solved everything, even no matter what, even if the first round goes horribly. And you probably have the ability to keep momentum and re-up in some ways, or do whatever it is that you're going to do to kind of replenish this roster that loses a ton of guys. It's in that way, and in the era we're in, I'm not sure you can downplay the all or nothing significance of that game on Saturday, because I think it was going to go or here, whether they won or lost that game. I mean, it's just sort of, and this isn't even really about Ole Miss. It's just the stage we're in as a sport right now, that one game can carry something that is probably program defining at this point, my opinion.
Yeah, you would have a better pulse on that than I would. I talked to some national guys before the game, obviously, that are longtime friends of mine, Barrett Salee and Chris Lowe and Andy Staples. They were all there, so it was kind of fun to talk to those guys a little bit. We didn't really talk a whole lot of football, but when we did, Chris and Andy both said this, that probably one more season with this formula. They were talking about a specific coach that they had both talked to in a different league, who is really interested to see where this goes in a year, because the rev share is happening. The schools are going to do it. They're going, even if something happens with the court case, they're going to do it. A lot of them are going to do it in the spring, even if they don't, quote, have to do it, end quote.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're hitting a place where hitting up, it's sort of the dirty little secret that you want the fans to give to the collective, but the fans aren't, the people that are giving the $30 a month, the $40 a month, that's not what's really funding these collectives. What's really funding the collectives is the big donors, and everybody's kind of getting wary of hitting up the big donors over and over and over and over. And so when rev share kicks in, what a lot of people think is it's going to come back to a little bit more of a leveling of the playing field. Nobody really knows. That's why I said, and I don't even remember where I wrote it in 10 Thoughts. I said, I don't know. You don't know. No one knows, like, what's going to happen. But, yeah, from a rebuilding next year's roster at Ole Miss specifically, yeah, that game was probably – I say that. It probably was super important. But, again, I don't have – this is a weak spot of mine. It's a blind spot for me. I don't have a pulse on that the way that you probably do.
Well, and I mean, I think maybe it even plays into it what you're talking about, because that's very relevant. Is while you have a ton of donor fatigue, and it exists everywhere, and it exists at Ole Miss. I mean, I've talked to people that give a lot of money that go, I just don't know, even if they're winning. When rev share is coming and you believe that, you can go, hey, one more time, just you know what I mean? Like, that's different than, hey, and then next year I'm hitting you up again. Like, it's coming. Like, it's right there. You just go, hey, please, one more, just see what we did. One more, blah blah blah. Here's where we are. I think that plays a role in it, because you're still going to have, and look, collectives are still going to exist. I mean, not exactly what they're going to look like, but I mean, they're still going to be here following this as we move forward. Andre, thanks for super chat. We'll do this real quick and get back on the conversation. Says, Neal, how do you feel about the moves going on at Florida State? Seems like things are getting worse, and getting rid of the OC and DC could kill Mike going forward. Turkey loaf rules. #Red Wall.
What moves did they make?
They fired all the coordinators. Florida State got rid of all the assistant coaches, because clearly that's the problem right now. The problem is you paid a lot of guys and you paid the wrong people. It's back to Saban's quote on game day that day.
Yeah, they paid the wrong people, and they're just not very good. And then they have, from all accounts, awful chemistry. Culture's bad. People are upset. And when the seasons go badly in this iteration of college football, the kids are going to start looking for their next place to go. I mean, teams get on quit watch a lot faster than they used to. I mean, we'll be on quit watch with LSU this week. I mean, they're done. When you open the season, not picking on LSU, is just an example. When you open the season as, hey, we're going to the playoffs, right? That's the goal, make the playoffs. And you don't make the playoffs, well, you kind of get on quit watch. Doesn't mean they'll quit. They might go to Florida and play lights out. I don't know. But they're on quit watch.
Yeah, it's at least in the conversation.
Sure.
That you're potentially thinking at that point.
I mean, if you're a LSU player that's draft eligible and you have a couple of ailments, and at this point in the season, most everybody does, you start thinking about, hey, I'm going to get well. I need to get well for the combine. I need to get ready for the combine. I need to get ready for the Senior Bowl. I need to get ready for whatever's next. Or if you're thinking about, hey, I'm going to get in the portal, I need to be healthy because the portal's about to open up. Visits are weeks away. Maybe it's time for me to check out. Hey, coach, my hamstring's really, really bothering me.
Saturday, specifically, so we put some bows on some Georgia stuff. Got a few things as far as the game that I'm not even sure we really got to in the post game. Just kind of the way it played out there in the show. You always watch line play early on, and I mean I watched a little bit of Film Don't Lie, UGA Sports, really good film breakdown last night where they were watching Ole Miss and Georgia, and their analysts, obviously, but very clearly talking about Ole Miss's defensive front, what they were able to do to Georgia in all these different ways, the way they dominated the game across the line of scrimmage. And then, Siski really pointed out in our postgame show the way the Ole Miss offensive line held up. Only one sack for Georgia and all those different things. You and I, we exchanged a few words, but there's not a ton of talking in press boxes. The way the game started, Ole Miss gets sacked on the second play. Dart gets hurt. He goes down, goes to the locker room. Third play, ball's tipped. He's getting hit as he throws the interception. You look like, oh, my God. I guess at that moment, I mean, were you kind of thinking, hey, Georgia's dominating then this quick little scheme right here? I mean, what you kind of see as you're watching the lines play out over the first few series?
I mean, the first three plays, Georgia's defensive line kicked Ole Miss's ass.
Yeah.
All right, so they made some adjustments in that second series with Simmons. And then from that point, they kind of cruised. I thought when Dart first came in, I thought the strategy was get the ball out of his hands.
Yeah.
And then I think as the game went on, they realized they could protect, and they kind of opened it back up a little bit. I mean, it was pretty obvious to me that once they got past the 50, it was kind of, hey, let's be conservative, let's be careful, let's not.
It's a shift in Kiffin's mindset.
Well, it was win the game,
playing to your strengths.
Yeah, it was a win the game. Don't give them a pick six. I mean, he even talked about it yesterday on the media call. He even thought about not doing some of those field goals just because he didn't want to risk a field goal block getting returned for a touchdown where, in other words, they just felt like defensively they could stop them. And when I was watching binoculars the whole game. I mean, Georgia struggled with that defensive front, just the same way that Oklahoma did, that Arkansas did. They're hard to block. They're really good on the edges. They're pretty impactful in the middle. But even when they don't get a rush in the middle, they kind of hold the line a little bit, and their pass rush off the edges has gotten to be so explosive that I think it's covering up some deficiencies on the back end.
And I thought, I mean, what you mentioned is very true. Lane was playing to field goals, to his defense. I mean, somebody pointed out yesterday, I think Jackson Dart's last completion came with 6 minutes left in the third quarter.
Yeah.
They didn't have a completion the past 20-something minutes there. Completely geared down. He's been doing that. And, in these big games, and I know Alabama is what sticks out because that was always his albatross and has been his albatross with Saban. But in that type of game, Lane called a much more calm game. He was more mature in his actions, I thought, on Saturday versus a lot of the big games where he just, sometimes he has a lot of stubbornness where he goes, I'm just not coming off the field because I'm a little pissed off about something, doesn't quite look right. And he was able to completely go, nope, this is the formula. It's a recipe. Just stop. It's okay. I mean, because it's even a little bit of a transition from earlier in the year where he believed in the defense, but you were still going for fourth downs and doing all these things. And that was a very patient coaching game plan from Lane on Saturday.
But they were still getting points.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I mean, they only punted twice. They had the one turnover and punted twice. Otherwise, everything kind of ended with a field goal for the most part. They had 5 field goals from Caden Davis, and
yeah, he was excellent.
A lot of them were short kicks. He had the one really long kick that I thought was big, but most of the kicks were pretty short kicks where it was, hey, let's just make sure we don't turn it over here. Let's get points. Let's add to the lead. Georgia was really struggling. Georgia really got nothing downfield all that much.
They only tried one. They threw one ball 20 yards or more.
I thought Beck made some nice throws. I actually thought he made some nice plays. I thought both 1 and 3, the 2 running backs, both made really nice runs a couple of times where, and Lane talked about it yesterday, really nice runs where Ole Miss defenders weren't blocked, but they were able to make runs where you're like, oh, I see why everybody recruited that kid. I mean, I get it. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, there's this rush, and I saw it yesterday among some people to just write Georgia completely off, which I think is flawed. I still thought that was a really good football team, watching them live.
Yeah, maybe you just played a really good game and you're good. Maybe it's not that Georgia sucks.
No, Georgia doesn't suck. Yeah, that's silly. I mean,
Georgia may go beat the hell out of Tennessee this weekend.
I mean, they might beat the hell out of a lot of people, and they might lose. I mean, look, college football has a lot of parity right now.
I mean, look, I'm going to run through a not crazy scenario in a few minutes about a possible 8-way tie for the SEC title. And we have 3 weeks left.
Yeah.
And again, is that going to happen? Most likely not.
I mean,
but it's not nuts.
But no, there's a lot of parity. I mean, I was having this conversation with Barrett Salee yesterday where, everyone says, well, college football's become pro sports. Okay, well, if you accept that premise, well, then parity is going to come with it because pro sports is sort of built on parity. So if college sports have become pro sports, and I do think they're becoming pro sports where everybody's about to get paid, there's going to be parity. So they're going – I mean, look, it could easily happen this year where a team that goes 10-2 in the regular season wins the national title. I mean, we're about to go into a playoff, I think, where there's obviously going to be 12 teams in it, and I think you'll be able to make a compelling case for 9 or 10 teams to win the national championship. They won't all do it because 11 are going to finish with an L.
But it's matchup based. You get the right draw, the right thing.
You have the right help that particular week or whatever the case may be. But I mean, I think you'll be able to. I mean, I could make an argument for Alabama winning the national title right now. I could make an argument for Oregon, Ohio State, Ole Miss, Texas. I mean, that's 5 just off the top of
Not even really trying that hard.
And I haven't even watched Indiana enough to go. I mean, everybody goes, well, they won't do it because they're Indiana. I'm like, well, I don't know. They're undefeated. They're beating the hell out of most everybody. But I haven't watched them enough to say whether I could or couldn't make a case for them. But, I mean, I can make a case for a bunch of teams.
Flawed but interesting stat to that point. Alabama ranked, 9th? Was that what they are in the AP yesterday? I don't know. I'll look at it in a minute. I think they were 9th.
I don't remember.
3 of the current top 5 in the AP poll, Texas, Penn State, and Indiana, don't have a win over a team currently ranked. Alabama has 4, which is more than the current top 5 combined. So, I mean, you mentioned Bama. They have beat 4 teams that are currently ranked.
Yeah, no, I can absolutely make a case for Alabama. Kalen DeBoer's teams win late in the season. That's what they do. They were dominant the other night. I didn't see much of it, but it was pretty obvious that they were. Milroe is a weapon with his feet. They've got a great wide receiver. They can run the ball. Their defense is pretty solid and has gotten better in recent weeks. I mean, they are learning new schemes. There was a learning curve. Some of the media hot takes on Alabama have just been flat silly. I could absolutely make a case for Alabama winning. They're supremely talented.
This question keeps popping up, and the answer is yes. I mean, I think that you're going to see, and we'll find out on Tuesday night where Ole Miss is falling in the next playoff ranking. But we know there's going to be losses. We know there's going to be upsets because they just are always. Everybody gets bailed out. It is what it is. It's where the sport is. And what you're seeing as a reaction is I don't think no matter what kind of happens in the SEC, Ole Miss wins 2 more games, they're in the playoff. They are going to get in.
Yes.
Period. With 2 1-point or more wins against Florida and Mississippi State the rest of the way. And yes, you have a chance at a home game. Is it a guarantee? No. But
they're kind of on the bubble.
Doesn't take much.
They're on a bubble for a home game.
I mean, I'm going to read Andy Staples' predictions in a minute. I mean, he's got him at a home game right now.
Yeah.
He's predicting the remainder of the season.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're complete. You erase the Kentucky game. That's what you did.
Yeah.
Or pick one. I don't care. Whichever one. You erase one.
Yeah. No, they're in. I mean, their resume at 10-2 is pretty solid. And they won the games. They have one really good win, one really bad loss. Is what it is. The Kentucky loss is on the resume. It is, period. And the Georgia win at home is a big win, a really big win.
You're number 1 in the country in game control right now, which is kind of a dumb stat, but you'll take it if you're Ole Miss and go, I'll be happy to let that be a reason why I'm getting some sort of favoritism when the thing comes.
You know, the
computers love them.
Yeah. Well, the other loss wasn't a bad loss. It's at overtime against a team that's probably going to go 8-4.
And you led most of the game, which gets into that game control thing, right or wrong at that point. I mean, it just kind of is as you're talking about it. So no, they're in good shape. They are. We'll continue to discuss that in a minute. First, you've had Wendy's nugs dipped in sauce. But you've had them covered in sauce. Wendy's new saucy nugs. Take the crispy and spicy nugs you love and turn them up to 11. Choose between flavors like buffalo, honey barbecue, garlic parm. Or if you're a real heat seeker, try spicy ghost pepper. Only a Wendy's signature spicy nugs. I dare you. 7 delicious ways to try the nugs you already love. Pick a flavor, grab some napkins, and prepare to nug like you've never nugged before. For a whole new way to nug, it's got to be Wendy's, a participating U.S. Wendy's.
We're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great people, products, and services. If you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, South Haven, Memphis, that area, call Southern. 662-429-4429. Brought to you by Window Hero. Window cleaning, pressure washing, gutter cleaning, gutter guards, everything in between. Window Hero has the experience, equipment, and expertise to make your property look and feel brand new. The leaves are falling. You want to make sure that your gutters stay clean and where they can do their job when the rain comes, because the rain is on its way. It's windowhero.com or 662-510-7077. I'll take advantage of Dead Soxy's fall sale, 25% off site-wide, including Ole Miss socks and more with the code Rebel Grove. That's Rebel Grove at deadsoxy.com. We're brought to you by Rustic Revivals. They're based out of Flowood, Mississippi, and Rustic Revivals builds tables and other furniture by hand with locally sourced lumber. The husband and wife team of Josh and Ashley Pierce specialize in custom-ordered tables, beds, dressers, coffee tables, bookshelves, decorative cabinets, and chairs and more. They have a limited selection of ready-for-pickup pieces available in their shop. They deliver 250 miles away from Flowood, so podcast listeners can get 20% off their purchase by using the code REBELS20. It's rusticrevivalsms.com, facebook.com/rusticrevivalsms, or on Instagram at Rustic Revivals. You can also call them directly at 228-217-1243 or email rusticrevivals@gmail.com. My 10 weekend thoughts are up at rebelgrove.com. They're brought to you by Andrew Sego, Sego Wealth Management. He specializes in helping folks just like you come up with their retirement game plan, whether you meet at his office in Collierville or prefer Zoom from anywhere. Schedule a free discovery meeting with Andrew and the gang at rebelsretire.com. Again, rebelsretire.com.
The Declaration of Independence Center for the Study of American Freedom is located on the Ole Miss campus and aims to explore and examine the fundamental and founding principles of the United States of America. The center offers an academic minor in freedom studies and scholarship opportunities for Ole Miss students that bring along lots of networking potential. So to learn more, contact Stephen Scoltetti at freedom@olemiss.edu or visit independence.olemiss.edu. So look at this a little bit from an AP standpoint, which, I mean, we can debate how that matters. In some ways, it doesn't at all, frankly.
It matched the CFP last week.
It did match it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's humans picking. So there is some relevance there. Ole Miss, again, moves up to number 10 in the AP Top 25, just squeaking out Georgia. Ole Miss, 966 points. Georgia, 964 points. Poll mechanics, people, whatever. Oregon, number 1. That's unanimous at this point. They get all 62 first-place votes for the Ducks. Ohio State, right behind them at number 2. Texas at number 3. Penn State at number 4. Indiana, as speaking, 10-0 now for the Hoosiers. They are number 5. Tennessee is number 6. It's an interesting resume. We'll look at a couple of these in a second. BYU, number 7. Notre Dame, number 8. Number 9, Alabama, as mentioned. Ole Miss, 10. Georgia, 11. Miami, all the way down to 12. Pretty big fall there for the Hurricanes after that loss to Georgia Tech. And then Boise State, 13. SMU, 14, and on down. A&M still sitting and lingering at 15 with 2 losses.
Yeah, and they have
Texas left on the board.
Yeah, they still have a shot.
It's why I think Ole Miss is completely safe here in this 10-2 conversation. Number one, you're, again, right or wrong, when you start higher, you don't fall as much and you move back up. Preseason does matter in that way when you're talking about tie breaking and trying to figure it out. And it's said here, and as we said last week, if you're going to have 1-1 either way, you're much better off with the bigger win because bigger wins matter more than bad losses. They just do to people. You have the big flashy thing, that matters more. And when you're rating these resumes, let's say Tennessee loses. They do have the win over Alabama, but you lose to Georgia, you get the loss to Arkansas. You're kind of all even with the Vols at that point. It is what it is, but you started higher, and you probably end up finishing higher at that point. It's why Drinkwitz keeps talking about it, but nobody thinks a 10-2 Missouri is a playoff team. Their resume is just lacking. They didn't beat anybody. They look like crap most weeks because of their quarterback situation.
I mean, they get an opportunity this week to make a little noise because South Carolina is making noise right now and looks really good.
Yes.
I mean, if they went to Columbia, the other Columbia, and won, I mean, it would get some attention. I don't know that metrically they seem like they're too far back, but
because they're 24th right now in the AP Top 25.
But I mean, sure. They've got a blowout loss to A&M and a blowout loss to Alabama. Their biggest win so far is
I don't even know.
Auburn, Oklahoma. I mean, they need a big win. They need to go to Columbia, South Carolina, and win big, and I don't think they're capable of doing that. So, again, I've got the accurate but completely unsexy take on this. It all works itself out for the most part. I mean, all of the scenarios that people do, the panic scenarios require, well, if and if and if and if and if, and all those ifs aren't going to happen. There's going to be another upset because that's college football. And some of the teams that are trying to squeak their way in are not going to have enough gas to get there. And I suspect Mizzou's one of those teams.
It feels like that.
Like Missouri's a 13-point dog this weekend.
Is it that high?
Yeah. I mean, South Carolina's probably going to beat them. South Carolina's one of those teams that, frankly, can do we're 2 plays away from being in the playoffs. Not wrong. I mean, it doesn't really work like that, but you're not wrong.
Yeah, they've been doing that, and I think a lot of Ole Miss people aren't registering them because Ole Miss is their one albatross where the game wasn't close. Yeah. So they haven't seen them do some of these things as they have finished up from that point.
But if you've watched them in recent weeks, they've looked really good.
Look, here's why the poll mechanics are fascinating. Let Texas lose to A&M, and I think they're still in, but that resume sucks.
I don't know.
There's not a win on that damn schedule if they lose to A&M.
We were having a conversation, it was me and Andy and Chris. We were actually talking about Texas, how the league's going to be in a weird spot because obviously Sankey's going to fight for league teams, as he should. But the one that in that scenario might be the odd team out would be Texas.
They're the only one without a sexy win.
I mean, they got nothing if they lose to A&M. Nothing.
Their best win if they lose to A&M is
Vanderbilt, Arkansas.
At Vandy, at Michigan.
Michigan's not good, so it's at Arkansas.
Gotta pick somebody.
Florida. They don't have a great.
It might actually be at Arkansas in that scenario.
And in that scenario, Arkansas loses that game. Maybe they beat Louisiana Tech.
They're 6-6.
I mean, at most, they're 7-5 if they go to Mizzou and win. So your best win is going to Arkansas and beating a 6-6
because right now
team?
their wins are Colorado State, Michigan, UTSA, ULM, Mississippi State, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, Florida.
Yeah, their best win so far is Vanderbilt.
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, Vanderbilt's probably staring at 7-5, and that's your best win. 6-6, maybe. I mean, I don't know what Vanderbilt's. They got 6 wins.
Because, I mean, back to the conversation a second ago, that's 10-2. I get score differential matters to some extent, sure, whatever you want to make of that. In this scenario, you could argue Missouri has a better resume because they have a win over South Carolina.
Yeah. Sure.
And Carolina's better than any of those teams.
Yeah. Yeah. But if Mizzou beats South Carolina, suddenly South Carolina's a 4-loss team, and they still have to play Clemson, so they could be a 5-loss team. I mean, you don't. I think Texas would be in trouble in a scenario where they go 10-2.
That crazy scenario, yes, is not going to happen. I mean, it's just not. Stuff's going to happen. It is what it is. It requires 2 upsets. The 2 upsets for that 8-way thing is Arkansas beating Texas.
I mean, unlikely.
Sure. And Missouri winning against South Carolina. Those are the only 2 upsets that it would take.
And actually, if the football gods dropped in here and said one of those 2 things happened, I'd say, oh, well, Arkansas beat Texas at home.
Would you really?
Yeah, I don't think. I don't think South Carolina's losing at home to Mizzou. I don't.
Yeah. That disaster scenario for the SEC would be Texas losing to Arkansas, beating Kentucky and A&M. A&M beating Auburn, losing to Texas. Tennessee losing to Georgia, beating Vanderbilt. Georgia beating Tennessee. That's all they got to do. That's all they have left. Ole Miss obviously winning out to get
Georgia's got to beat Georgia Tech now.
That's true. But for SEC purposes, that doesn't play in. This isn't playoff. This is SEC title ramifications.
Gotcha.
This is an 8-way tie at 6-2.
Okay.
That is what we're doing. Alabama has to beat Oklahoma and beat Auburn. They got to win out.
I like their chances.
LSU's got to beat Florida, Vanderbilt, and Oklahoma.
Okay.
And then Missouri has to beat South Carolina, Mississippi State, and Arkansas. Again, it's not going to happen, but that's not nuts.
It's not, but it's highly.
The point is more this uneven scheduling has caused a problem because you do this enough years, and you're at least going to get hit with a 5-way tie.
Yeah.
Maybe not 8, but you're going to get hit with some crap. Because Ole Miss is, in this scenario, again, almost not possible. If, for the sake of a podcast that has to go for an hour and 25 minutes, the sake of if, Ole Miss would be a division champion and finish 8th in the league in tiebreakers.
Because of the Kentucky loss.
Because they played Mississippi State and Kentucky, and they have the worst strength of schedule of any of the teams in the field. Because you can't get head-to-head when you have 8 teams. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So you're just going all the way down that damn tiebreaker list into strength of record. And Alabama, I think, would play. I think Alabama and somebody else would be in the title game because they don't play state, basically.
Oh. I'm just trying to think. Yeah. I mean,
again,
sure.
Just point being, this Georgia win now puts Ole Miss where, I mean, if you just win, you're going to sit somewhere between 6 and 9.
Yeah.
And you're fine.
Yeah.
Go beat Florida. Go beat State.
Yeah. And just
now buckle up for Florida. I mean,
sure.
Florida is a little spunky at times. Flagway will be back, I think.
Yeah, you got to go play well, but they don't have. I saw someone ask about style points. I don't think style points matter.
At this point, they don't at all. No.
Win the game.
Your style points were what you did Saturday because you're getting this big jump this week.
Sure.
That's what you needed.
Well, the committee saw it. Again, they're people. The computers like Ole Miss, and B, the committee saw Georgia.
There's a decent chance Ole Miss is sitting at like 8 or 9 this week because of the computers.
Yeah.
You could take this jump.
Sure. If I'm an Ole Miss fan, I'm cheering for Georgia this weekend. I want Georgia to beat Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm fine with getting into a situation where Georgia's 10-2 also.
100%. You beat them.
Yeah, I'm
and not only did you beat them handedly.
Yeah, I'm good.
But what I don't want Georgia to do is
you're not getting left out if Georgia's 10-2 and you beat Georgia.
You're not getting left out at 10-2.
You're just not.
You're not, and you're not getting in at anything less than 10-2, and you're not getting left out at 10-2. It's just not that complicated. I don't even know why everyone's gnashing the teeth. I really don't. I mean, you're in if you win the next 2 games. I don't know whether you're at home or not.
Win 2 games, pull for Georgia, pull for South Carolina. That's what I would recommend.
Yes, and frankly, and pull for Arkansas.
Sure. Yeah, why not?
Because Arkansas plays Texas and Missouri.
So they can,
and you've already beaten them, and all they can do is build their own resume, which makes your resume look better because you won on the road there. Frankly, God, I hate saying this. I can't even imagine the message board threads. That's probably the team you should be cheering for the hardest.
Who?
Arkansas.
Oh, yeah.
Because they can actually help you the rest of the way.
They can knock Texas out of this bitch on Saturday.
And if Missouri, in a world where Missouri's still in it, they can knock Missouri out.
Yeah.
And if they got to 8-4, and they're not going to, but in a world,
you look good.
You look better because you went there and beat them by 4.5, 5 scores.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the team you should be cheering for. I'll go ahead and just take the flogging. Bring it.
Staples is predicting things. We're good with On 3. We like Andy. No problem with that.
No, Andy's a good friend.
Yeah.
Been on MPW Digital
in the last few weeks.
Fairly recently.
So he is predicting. Again, this is him not estimating today. This is him guessing games the remainder of the season is the way he's doing this.
Yep.
Or I think at least. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what he's doing. Either way, who gives a crap? He has Oregon with a bye, Texas with a bye. So actually, I don't know. Either way, whatever. It doesn't matter. Oregon number 1, Texas number 2. He has BYU winning the Big 12 and getting the number 3 spot. And then he has SMU winning the ACC and getting the 4.
Okay.
As of right now. SMU is leading the ACC by themselves currently.
Yeah.
The Ponies are in.
Realistic so far.
And SMU, their only loss is BYU. It's an interesting schedule there for SMU. Then he has a 5-12 matchup in Columbus between Ohio State and Boise State. He has Boise State getting the Group of 5 bid. It's possible, but not likely for Boise State to grab a bye. It's doable, but it would take some stuff to happen. An upset, frankly, in a Big 12 title game is what it would require.
Right.
At that point. And look, if you're Ole Miss or any SEC team, you don't want that crap because you don't want BYU in as an at-large. You need them the hell out of there.
Yeah.
So you want somebody to run a table. He has Tennessee playing Penn State in Knoxville in a 6-11 game.
Okay.
He has Alabama hosting.
So he must have Tennessee
beating Georgia.
Yes. Okay.
He has Alabama beating Indiana or playing Indiana in Tuscaloosa in a 7-10 game.
Okay.
And then he has Ole Miss hosting Notre Dame in an 8-9 game. That is what he has.
Yeah.
And if Ole Miss won that game, they would face the Oregon Ducks in the second round in a bowl game somewhere. Probably the Rose Bowl.
Yeah, it's
pretty whatever that.
It's pretty realistic.
Yeah, I got no problems.
I mean, I think Ole Miss is somewhere between 7 and 9 probably when it's all said and done. As low as 10 if there was just a lot of chalk.
I just can't find you. I can't get you lower than 10.
No, they're in. I mean,
and 10's in because you can only get kind of screwed by upsets with 11. You're kind of after that. It's fine.
Yeah. So the lowest seed they would be is like 11. And I don't think they'll be 11. I think they'd be lowest is 10 and the highest is probably 6.
Yeah, I can't get you.
I mean, you have to have chaos to get higher than that. And that's not particularly realistic.
Because an SEC championship game loser, if they have one loss, is going to be the 5.
Is there a path for Ole Miss to Atlanta?
A path?
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know what it is, but yeah, sure. There's 3 games left for everybody.
Because so far, the one team that's can't fall below them is.
I mean, Texas has 2 games left.
Yeah.
They have a league loss.
Yeah. So Texas could fall.
They could lose to A&M and Arkansas. 3 losses.
Bama could fall, although it's unlikely.
You've got a tiebreaker on Georgia.
Yeah.
They can hit Tennessee.
LSU has 2 SEC losses,
they do.
And they hold the tiebreaker over you.
So they have to lose.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's, again, possible.
Yeah.
Possible.
Tennessee's got 1 loss right now?
They do.
Okay.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
But they play Georgia Saturday. That's a play-in. That's a playoff game.
Yeah. I think so.
Because Tennessee, again, they have the Alabama win, but they're going to be a little dicey if they lose that game the rest of the way. They're probably okay.
I think they'd probably still be okay.
Tennessee might be in better shape than anybody right now, frankly.
Because the one loss would be the two losses if they lost would be Arkansas
and
Georgia, both on the road. Arkansas is probably going 6-6. Georgia in that scenario is going 10-2 probably. Yeah, they'd be fine.
Yeah, and I don't even know what their schedule is. You'd have to ask Neal Steele, but LSU that looked like a team on quit on Saturday once it got out of hand.
LSU's got at Florida, Vanderbilt at home, Oklahoma at home.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I don't know. Vanderbilt might be weird because Vanderbilt's going to keep playing. They're not on quit watch.
they had no gas on Saturday.
And they ran into a good team.
They did.
Carolina's good. I mean, again, Carolina's that team that could go, we are 2 plays away. And they're not wrong. That's why I always push back on the Ole Miss people get mad at me when I kind of don't play along with the we're 2 plays from being undefeated. Because you can start doing that with a bunch of teams. Even though it's true, it's just like, yeah, but it doesn't really work like that. So
I mean, look, I don't see it happening in any capacity, but that you do need LSU to kind of take a loss somewhere because you don't need them to luck around into Atlanta and then win a game and steal a bid.
Right.
That is the one weird scenario that does still exist out there from an SEC stolen bid standpoint. Is somebody squeaking into that 1 or 2 and then it getting.
Boy, they looked quitty the other day.
They did look quitty. I mean, Alabama ran through them.
Yeah, Bama's good. Bama might be the team that we're all underselling, which is bizarre, but because usually we oversell them. They might be undervalued right now.
Saw the Utah AD had to get slapped on the wrist and took back his vitriolic tweet the other day, where he called the Big 12 a bunch of cheaters after the game on Saturday.
It wasn't wrong.
It wasn't wrong. It was a hold. They absolutely helped BYU win that football game.
By the way, I'm going to give some credit here. It wasn't a perfectly officiated game Saturday, but
Pretty good.
I thought the officials let them play.
Yeah.
Yeah, they missed. There were a couple of egregious missed hold calls. I can think of one on Georgia that I actually tweeted about. Like, I don't know how you don't call that. But there was one
pulled him down.
But there was one on Ole Miss that didn't get called on the edge that was pretty egregious that didn't get called. The penalty on Trey Washington was a legitimate call. I mean, he tackled the guy with the face mask.
And not only anybody argued the call, it was the frustration of the situation.
But I think there were only 7 penalties in the whole game.
Ole Miss only had 3, I think.
I think Georgia had 4. They let them play. Give them credit. I thought, as much as we criticized the officials, and it's deserved, I actually thought that was a pretty well officiated football game. You're never going to have an NFL caliber officiated football game at the college level. You're not going to get it. It's not going to happen. If that's the bar.
That's a good point. Was there a review all night?
I don't think so.
I don't recall a review.
No, I thought I thought it was a well officiated football game.
That's good. For anybody that's been out on this BYU Utah thing, I actually find it because I know it's me. It's just my opinion. I despise the fact that you can't criticize officials publicly. Like, it drives me insane, maybe as much as almost anything in the sport, which says something. But I don't get it. Again, the Utah AD was pretty fiery, and then he came back after getting fined how much? $40,000, which they said was $15,000 more than anybody had ever been fined for criticizing officials in the Big 12 before. So they upped it here on him. After this, he said that he made clear his feelings related to the game. However, he recognized there's more appropriate times and avenues and all that kind of stuff. Your mark came out a little hotter than I anticipated, frankly. Said Mark's comments irresponsibly challenged the professionalism of our officials and the integrity of the Big 12 Conference as a right way and a wrong way to voice concerns. Unfortunately, Mark chose the wrong one. Accordingly, this violation warrants a public reprimand and financial penalty. The Big 12 Conference prioritizes professionalism, integrity, and fairness and will continue to do so. Except you didn't.
Blah, blah, blah.
I still don't. I know, I don't understand officials being above being able to be criticized. It makes no freaking sense in any world to me.
Yeah.
And no one has a logical reason why. But it's pros too. Oh, no.
Yeah,
They're humans.
There's more of it at the professional level.
They get fined, though.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but there's actually times at the professional level where the reporters will send a pool reporter in and
Sure.
get
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
You don't see that at the college level at all.
Very rarely.
They rush them out.
Todd Golding still going to coach at Florida during his sexual harassment thingy. I have not researched enough to have an opinion.
I asked Andy, who lives in Gainesville. He didn't know.
He wasn't sure.
He wasn't sure. If it's Title IX, you have to be really careful as an institution. And I think this one falls under some Title IX stuff, so they're having to be.
It looks at least what they reported was accurate. It's just whether he's at fault. So, okay, credit to the Alligator people, student journalism there. Good job.
Really good.
Yeah.
Really strong reporting.
Good job there.
I mean, elite reporting.
And it takes guts, too. That's a tough thing to do as a student.
Sure.
That's hard to do as somebody who's done it. That's tough. Brian, good to see you. Always like the truckers in our stream. Appreciate you as always. Seeing you there. So yeah, we'll see. They said he's going to coach. They play Grambling tonight, I believe.
Florida does.
Yeah, I think we'll see if Grambling scares the Gators tonight. They're in Gainesville. Ole Miss coming off a 2-point win against the SWAC school on Friday night.
Yes.
Ole Miss has the South Alabama, the throwback game in the Tad Pad tomorrow night.
That's correct.
That is correct.
Then at South Haven against Colorado State on Saturday.
3:00 Landers Center for that one. That is factual. I meant to mention this earlier. Just a couple last little bow things. We're not talking about Jared Ivey enough. He's maybe been their best defender overall. Rushing, passing. His rushing, passers, and run blocking. He's up to 9 sacks per Pro Football Focus here at this point. And then you mentioned it. We don't talk about holders unless they screw up, but Charlie Pollock had a hell of a day in the wet. He had a couple holes that were the snaps were high. He got them down, got the laces spun, and if you miss a couple of those, I don't know.
Yeah, no, he had a big day.
And then Saturday was good for Ole Miss, probably in a couple different ways, with Austin Simmons doing what he did from a recruiting and being able to kind of calm down for 2025 at the quarterback position. So
I thought it was huge.
Yeah.
Still think it was huge.
I mean,
if he comes in and
if he looks like deer in the headlights right there, that whole game is different from the jump. You're down 10-14, and then you're chasing.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're not kicking those field goals because you're needing touchdowns, and then the whole thing starts.
Sure.
I mean, frankly, even Bentley getting in from the 9, because it was the only damn time a running back got a 9-yard gain all day. I mean, you had to score in the red zone right there, too, even. I mean, that was...
No, it was huge.
The whole deal was
huge.
Relevant.
It was huge. It changed the whole venue because that place was about to get quiet. And they marched down the field and score, and then...
Because there was a lot of fear right there.
Sure.
That place went, darts in and the whole deal, and it's Georgia.
He settled down pretty quickly because his first pass went right through a Georgia defender's arms. Remember, it kind of bounced, and Daquan Wright caught it.
That's right.
And then after that, he settled in and started making plays. It might have been his second throw. I don't remember. But yeah, he got going. It was a huge drive, and they scored a touchdown. And I thought that settled things, and then the defense took over from that point, gave up a field goal the rest of the way.
Kennedy played really well. When I was doing snap count analysis, that's up at rebelgrove.com. Kennedy was excellent at that nickel corner spot on Saturday. Yeah. I don't know if he got banged up. Graves played a lot late.
He did.
And when I look at snap counts, Kennedy kind of came out at some point there, so I don't know where that's sitting or not sitting moving forward.
He must have gotten banged up.
Look at a couple of those snap things. It's interesting. We'll do that in a second. First, Citizens Bank, not just an account number, valued member of the community. Now, if you find yourself in the market for a mortgage, another reason to give them a try. Whit Wilson, and many of you know in the mortgage space, is now at the Citizens Bank and ready to help you with your real estate goals. Stop by and visit 902 Sisk Avenue, Suite E in Oxford to discuss your options with Whit or one of their experienced bankers who value your financial journey. And while you're there, ask about the School Spirit debit cards. They donate an amount per every transaction to the local school of your choice, whether it's Oxford, Lafayette, or Regents. That's the Citizens Bank, PHILA.com.
We're brought to you by Grenada Home Center. They've got paints by Benjamin Moore, Pittsburgh Paints, Farrell Calhoun, flooring of any and all types, stone countertops, whether you're looking for granite, quartz, or anything else. They've got window treatments from plantation shutters to whatever else you're looking for. It's Grenada Home Center, 1301 Sunset Drive, Suite H in Grenada. You can call them at 662-226-3127. Christmas about 6 weeks away or so. Be a good time to stop by Arnett's Fine Jewelry. It's a fourth-generation jeweler located in the old Lamons Jewelry Building, North Lamar Avenue in Oxford. They offer expert jewelry repair, diamond engagement rings, wedding bands, stackable diamonds, genuine stone bands, pearls, diamond jewelry, and so much more. It's great for gifts, birthdays, graduation, and, of course, Christmas gifts. Arnett's wants to be your jeweler. College Corner, speaking of gifting, great place to stop and get gifts for the Ole Miss fan in your life. They've got 2 locations in the Jackson area, one in Oxford, right off of Sisk Avenue, more than 4,000 square feet of the best Rebel gear. You can also shop online at collegecornerstore.com. And we're brought to you by Argent Wealth, formerly Pinnacle Wealth. Argent is based in Ridgeland, Mississippi. They represent clients in more than 20 states. Argent provides detailed, specialized investment management, financial planning, retirement planning for individuals and businesses, and much, much more. At Argent, investing is treated like a commodity. Decisions are made using objective information and research, not emotions. So regardless of your level of wealth, Argent will sit down with you and listen to your goals, study your expenses, and put forth a comprehensive, detailed financial and retirement plan. It's myargentwealth.com. And we're brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. John's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allow him to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits, simply not available to other travelers. John has traveled the globe for 37 years before he got into the travel business. He knows the extra attention that's needed to make a special trip one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. So call him at 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net.
Podcast is brought to you by NE Spark, the fastest, most reliable fiber internet option available. Whether you're streaming the Rebels or connecting with family and friends, Spark offers both residential and business packages with speeds up to 2 gigabits. To learn more, register for service. That's nespark.com. NeSpark. Get connected. Stay local. Sammy, thanks for Super Chat. As always, New York Giants could use GM Billy Glasscock. Thank you, veterans. Yes, Veterans Day today. So, thank you to all of you. And then also, banks closed and things. So just be aware of that for today. It is a federal holiday. So there's that. Yeah, Nolan had no stats on Saturday, really, but he clogged the entire middle of the defensive line. I mean, he's a handful in there.
His job is not to collect stats.
Yeah, just
he's made a lot of money this year. Gonna be a high pick.
When he's motivated, he is one beast. I mean,
yeah, he's had a tremendous year. He's going early.
Princely had a hell of a game.
Amami Allen's going early. Trey will go pretty early as long as he can establish that he's okay. I mean, it's a growing injury, guys. You can't.
I'm curious where Amos goes because he's been really good on that side of the field.
He has. He's been really good. I mean, probably goes second day.
Got some length.
Yeah. I mean, probably a second day guy, second, third round.
Yeah. I mean, I look, we'll see. I just don't see how Austin Simmons plays baseball this spring. His decision,
yeah,
but
I don't know what his elbow situation is.
Well, and nobody believes he will not need a procedure to some degree. I mean, even Austin kind of admitted that when he was last available to the media. He said that was just sort of a wait and see process, but no one that I have talked to, medical or baseball related, believes that he can pitch a baseball successfully without some level of procedure. And if you're Austin Simmons, you're not having Tommy John right now.
No, I wouldn't.
You end your football career.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that's on the table. Oh, my bad.
You're good. Yeah, Trey Washington will get an NFL paycheck. He's a late round guy.
Yeah, I can see
been
that.
A steady 3 or 4 year guy.
Get a flyer.
Chris Paul's a gamer. Dude just shows.
Yeah, he's probably one of those guys that goes ahead and goes pro because your stock's as high as it's probably going to get. You're not going to change physically. So you go while you're healthy and your stock's high. And you hope that you land in the right.
That defensive line has made Ole Miss so much better everywhere else on a defensive standpoint. But, I mean, they have not – for 2 guys playing as much as they do, there's been very few seasons they've had that level of complement at linebacker with Daugherty and Paul and the ground they cover and the things they're able to accomplish there. Somebody asked about snap counts. I mean, look, 4 of the offensive linemen played the entire damn game. And then Jerquan Scott played 60 of the 65 snaps. I mean, Jeremy James was the only reserve that even got in, and he played 5 snaps. That was it. I mean, Ole Miss did not play many people at all on Saturday.
They never really have.
No,
I mean,
the league doesn't really either. Though I kind of cross-checked it a little bit, and it's a little fewer than normal, but not many. I mean, it looks mostly like everybody else. And then on defense, I mean, that's where you don't see guys doing that, and Ole Miss had it a ton again. I mean, I've got it here. 4 players played every defensive snap on Saturday. That takes a cold tub for a little while. Daugherty played every snap. Washington played every snap. Saunders played every snap, and Yam Banks played every snap. Yam has just seen his playing time trick up all year.
That was his best game in an Ole Miss uniform. He was really good.
Lane keeps hinting at Logan Diggs. That's all we got. I don't know.
I mean, I know everybody keeps. I understand why people ask it. I don't know anything more than what Lane said yesterday, that
he wondered what it would be like.
It's my understanding that he practiced some last week, kind of really for the first time. The knee is heavily braced. I don't know what that looks like. I don't think they know what that looks like. Obviously, they don't play for 2 weeks.
Playoffs don't affect eligibility, correct?
I don't think so.
Bowl games don't.
I don't think the postseason counts against eligibility.
Okay.
So,
in theory, he could play the rest of the season and not lose a year of eligibility if that mattered to him. I do not know either way.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay.
They don't play a playoff game until at the earliest December the 20th. So in that world, he's got 6 weeks to continue to get better and maybe give them something. I haven't heard anything on Parrish. I suspect just the fact that we've heard nothing that it's probably season ending.
Yeah, I've gotten no positivity there at all.
They don't play Bentley a lot. So 10 games into the season, I think it's pretty apparent they're not going to play Bentley a lot.
Graves played 41 plays, by the way, on Saturday.
Amos got a carry. Thomas got some carries. Dart was their leading rusher. They're going to work on the running game some this week, try to figure out if they can just be a little more creative and effective there. But they kind of are what they are.
Jordan Watkins got more carries than Amos.
Yeah. Kind of are what you are at this point.
Because Watkins played a couple snaps of traditional tailback on Saturday.
Yeah.
Just looks.
He said they're going to work on some scheme stuff this week. They're going to work hard. It's not going to be physically violent, were his words. They're not going to hit.
They went too tight more than they have any other game this season, I think. That's more of a Pete question or a Tyler question. But just looking at snap counts, it looked like they went 2 tight ends a little more than usual. But I don't notice that in real time the way that coaches would. Yeah, Bentley played 34 snaps. Thomas played 18. Amos only played 2. And they lined Pegues up at tailback twice and Watkins 3 times. So from a running back standpoint, that's what they did.
Yeah. Kind of are what they are at this point. They've survived it. But, they're probably not. I think the people that are like, hey, Logan Diggs is going to come in and get 20 carries. I mean, I think you're kidding yourself. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I highly doubt it.
It's a lottery ticket.
Yeah.
But are on the table, and if something hits, great.
But it's probably not like a super lotto ticket. It's more like a scratch off where you win $100. I mean, it's not something you would bank on. Oh yeah, he's going to return to form and he's going to be this guy that runs for 80 yards against Florida. I mean, he might run for 80 yards against Mississippi State because who doesn't? But I mean, in a playoff game, are you really going to hand him the ball and be like, okay, hey, go be our bell cow today? I mean, that's not realistic.
It's just not the way they're designed right now. They don't have it. That doesn't exist. That's not how they're going to move the football.
No, they're going to throw the ball.
Their best short yardage back remains J.J. Pegues.
Yeah, their best offense is throwing the football. They're going to throw it.
And Dart's going to run it more and more.
Yeah, assuming that the ankle's going to let him. I mean,
sure.
I've heard it's basically the same ankle injury as a year ago. And if you go back, I think he hurt the ankle against Arkansas last year. And if you look at the rest of the season, they were very selective with how they ran him.
It was the right move. It was completely the right move. But I laughed at Lane's verbiage when he said Dart told him he was going back in, so he did. I went, that's pretty much. I mean, your leader comes and goes, I'm good. You go, okay, here's the football.
Yeah, it's his game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm literally shocked that anybody disagreed with that.
Siski disagreed.
Yeah, I know.
He would have put him back in for another series. He would have put Simmons in until he didn't score.
No, completely disagree.
Starting quarterbacks are kind of like left-handed pitchers. You don't want to mess with their head too much. You want to keep them.
I just think he's earned it. He's earned it. I mean, you put him back out there, and then if you see that he can't go, you take him out. I mean, he's earned it for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. He's the winningest quarterback in school history.
He's the captain of that team. He's the face inside that locker room. If he says he can go, he can go. And if you put him out there and you see that he can't go, well, then you take him back out.
There are not many games this week to look at on the schedule, but pretty good one here. Tulane's still alive, sort of in the group of 5 thing. They are at Navy on Saturday. They are giving 6.5 to the midshipmen. And that one's a little bit of a weird game there. And then we mentioned Texas and Arkansas, big line. Texas on the road in Fayetteville giving 16.5 to Arkansas.
15 this morning.
Okay. Actually, it's gone down to 14.5 this morning now. So,
okay.
Yes, even so. So that's going down a little bit, but 14.5, 15, depending on your book there. Texas and Arkansas. Fully expect Texas to win the football game.
Yeah, I would think.
What is now a very critical game in the Big 12. The Colorado Buffaloes, a 10-point favorite at home against Utah on Saturday.
Yeah.
Utah can clinch a berth in the Big 12 title game against BYU and try to steal a bid there. Again, you do not want that. You want BYU to win the league. Just make it easy there as a one big league in the Big 12. Clemson and Pittsburgh. That was a much bigger game a few weeks ago. Now, a little bit on that one. Pitt out now.
Yeah.
That was cute for a little while. It's fun. Not fun anymore. Saw Kennesaw State fired their coach. So they went Liberty and winless so far, and he's the only coach in the program's history. He started the program.
Is that Bohannon? Is that his name?
That is correct, yes. Look at you. Brian Bohannon. Because Brad Bohannon was the Alabama coach that was the idiot that gambled.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
He came out on Twitter yesterday and said he just wanted to make it clear that he did not resign. He was fired.
Okay.
I did not step down because I think that's what the school said.
That he stepped down.
Yeah.
No.
We didn't mutually agree to do shit.
No.
Actually.
I mean, you don't want to be called a quitter if you didn't quit.
No. Yeah. Ohio State giving 30 to Northwestern. Good luck to the Wildcats on Saturday. They're going to need it. Is that played at Wrigley?
I don't know.
Okay. Auburn giving 24 to your Warhawks on Saturday.
Yeah.
Feels like that's starting to slip out of the possibilities.
Yeah, I'm checked out on that one. I was checked in for a couple of weeks. I'm out now.
They starting to leak oil a little bit there in Monroe.
It appears so. I'm checked out.
Auburn had a bye week. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we didn't talk about Auburn last week. That's correct. Illinois giving 2.5 to Michigan State. If you want to wet your Big Ten whistle on Saturday,
I'm gonna go football free on Saturday.
No football.
No football.
None.
I'm giving myself a mental day.
What are you gonna do?
Carson's got a game.
Okay. Who do they play and win?
Madison Central.
Oh, big game.
Big game.
Non-league game.
Here,
big game.
Here at I think 1:00. So I'm gonna go cheer for Carson and Aka and the boys, Jeremiah and ICL and Will, all the fellas.
Chargers still undefeated?
Yeah, technically undefeated. That was a tie.
Oh, who'd you tie?
Clinton.
Oh, all right. Yeah, sorry. I knew that. Yeah, my bad.
Tied Clinton.
That's correct. Okay.
We've beaten Olive Branch, Lafayette, and Itawamba AHS.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
IAHS was good.
Are they?
They had a goalkeeper who was played with Carson in the state all-star game.
Pretty good.
He was really good.
They're 4A or 5A? 4A? For some reason, I think they're 4A.
4 or 5. I'm not sure.
So are they in with Pontotoc? Because Pontotic's good, right?
Yeah, Pontotoc.
Isn't Pontotoc pretty good?
Pontoc's good. I'm not sure what league.
I'm asking you Mississippi high school classification.
I know Lafayette 6A and Oxford 7 and
right.
Madison Central's
7, obviously.
Yeah, we got 3 games this week.
Yeah. Okay.
Center Hill. Yeah,
Madison Central is in the division with the Tupelos and the Starkvilles and whatever, because it creates 7A is sort of disjointed depending on the sports, because in football the other division is really, 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 really good.
I will not be putting up a tree this weekend. The tree is up.
Can't put up what's already.
It's already done.
So she did ask for the boxes to come down this past week.
Carson and Aka and I got the boxes down on Friday before I went to the basketball game. Laura and I put the tree up on Saturday morning before I left to go to Vaught Hemingway.
Okay.
and she has decorated.
Has Christmas music made its way through the abode yet?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that while the tree is going up?
No, but I think she turned. I'm sure she had Christmas music on when she was decorating.
Yes, Etowamba is 4A. That is correct.
The good news is I'm not asked to decorate because I would not decorate appropriately.
Oh,
I would not meet the standards.
so it's kind of like when one person in the relationship says, "Hey, you don't touch the dishwasher because you don't do it right."
Yes.
So that person has to load the dishwasher, but it's keeping that person away from not doing it correctly.
That is correct.
Okay.
I mean, I would not decorate.
You would do a poor job decorating the tree.
In her eyes, yes.
So, do you think you would do a good job?
I mean, I think it would be fine.
I remember you telling the story that you got like you've bought Christmas dinner and decorated a little tree back in the day.
I did
when you were getting started.
So I'm perfectly capable, but I would not do it.
Bare light bulb days.
I would not do it to her standards,
which is really the baseline. That's the actual baseline.
Well, that's the bar.
Yes,
right. I don't meet it. So
you're not going to watch Michigan State and Illinois at 2:30 on.
No, I feel 1,000,000% confident that I will not watch that now.
LSU in Florida. Florida's getting 5.5 in Gainesville from the Tigers on Saturday. 5.5 there, LSU. And Florida, SMU still trying to stay alive. They hold the lead. They host Boston College. They're giving 15.5 to the Boston College at Gerald Ford Stadium there in Highland Park.
They've done a really good job.
Telling you, it's not. If I'm the ACC, it's not the team I want to see have success in year one. Because if they get motivated, they got the money.
Yeah.
I don't know where they sit on that with boosters and all the stuff, but let's not act like they don't get motivated sometimes.
No, I mean they've done a really good job. I don't know what all the intricate details are. I think they have a good coach, and they've done a really good job with their program.
Yeah. Notre Dame's got Virginia on Saturday, giving 20.5 to the Cavs, and their sort of ACC deal they do. They're playing some ACC teams. Penn State going to West Lafayette to play Purdue. They'll beat the hell out of the Boilermakers on Saturday.
Yes.
28.5 the line on that game.
Like Penn State's, I think, going to make the playoff. They're one of the teams that I'll be like, I don't really think they have a chance.
No. You would want to draw them if you're.
But if they go 11-1 and their one loss is Ohio State, they're going to host a game.
But if you got to go on the road,
and I won't argue with that. No. I mean, I won't be like, oh, that's screwy. No, I mean, they did what they were supposed to do. They play in the Big Ten. They beat the teams on their schedule. They played a couple of decent non-league games and won them. I mean, I wouldn't. When people go, well, these SEC teams are better than them. I agree, but you can't punish them for laws that aren't on the books.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
No, 100%. No, they're in and they host.
They're in and they host. And so if I'm them,
just like had Missouri gone 11-1.
Yeah,
and you go, okay, you're going to get beat, but sure,
here's
your game.
I mean, you can't make up charges and go, okay, well, you know what? In hindsight, your Big Ten schedule sucks. Well, we didn't make our Big Ten schedule.
Yeah. So, it's why Indiana deserves it, even though I don't think they're very good. They're 10-0. So, okay, go do it.
It's why getting back to Texas in a world where Texas goes 10-2, that is the interesting one. Big brand. They're used to getting their way, but their resume would suck. Like, really suck.
Yeah, if they got in over Tennessee, it would be a complete travesty.
Or Ole Miss.
Yeah, either way. Yeah. It just... Missouri and South Carolina. Missouri getting 15.5 on the road, as you mentioned. Columbia, actually, it's down to 13.5 now, but either way. I just kind of want to lock that in for under two touchdowns before it gets too carried away. Tennessee and Georgia. Georgia giving 9 to the Volunteers in Athens. So Vegas still comfortably in on the Bulldogs for Saturday in this one.
We'll see.
Back in August, you could have gotten that at Georgia minus 17.5. Could have gotten 17 with the Vols back in August.
I think Georgia wins.
I do too. Yeah, I like Georgia. Oregon.
I mean, I thought Kirby's post game was impressive.
Really good. He was
very calm.
Very
cool. Sabanish.
Got beat by a good team. It's okay.
Let's
go home.
Calmer and more in control when you lose than when you win.
Yeah,
which is
that's a sign of good.
That's Saban.
Yeah. I don't think this is a trouble spot, but Oregon at Camp Randall giving 14 to Wisconsin on Saturday.
No, I mean, is it a world where Oregon might not cover? Sure. Are they going to win? Yes. And right now, Oregon just has to win.
They do. Texas A&M giving 39.5 to New Mexico State. Okay, whatever.
I don't know.
Have at it. The Barbecue Bowl is on Saturday. UAB at Memphis. Memphis giving 14 to UAB.
Is that what they really
They
call
have like
it?
a big they have a rib trophy thing.
Oh.
Yeah. There's worse ones. I know one.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
That's
not bad.
Yeah, that's true. That's it. I know you're going to get Jones in. You're going to need something late. I got it for you. San Diego State at UNLV. It's kicking off at 9:30 on Saturday night.
I'm good.
So once you hadn't watched all day and you go, you know what? I can't get through a day without football.
I can do it.
I got you.
I can absolutely do it.
15 minutes for that, you get Kansas at BYU. A little scary spot there for BYU. Just
maybe
Jayhawks. Maybe.
It's in Provo, right?
It's in Provo.
Yeah, no, they're good.
If it was in Lawrence, we'd have a little more of a conversation.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, just saying. All right, you got a couple weeks before Ole Miss gets back at home. Actually, got 3 weeks. And look, you're going to need to have some spread stuff. It's going to be Thanksgiving week. You're going to need something on that Friday. Johnston Hill Creamery can help you out for your next tailgating venture. That is the Egg Bowl. So johnstonhillcreamery.com. Head in, stop, see what they got available. They're inside Chicory Market. Then go to the website, johnstonhillcreamery.com. Make all of your reservations for food there. You can pick up all their charcuterie trays, sandwich trays, desserts, whatever you need. Artisanal cheese they make locally and in-house every single day with Johnston Hill. You can pick it up day of the game or day before as well. They make it easy on you. Again, that's johnstonhillcreamery.com.
I never really think of Birmingham as a barbecue place.
No, but they got Archibald's and Dreamland.
Yeah,
it's fine.
The more you think about it, you're like, okay, I get it. Just they don't have that reputation.
No. Well, and Alabama's into that damn white barbecue sauce, which I'm not a fan of.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They put the mayonnaise in their barbecue sauce.
Yeah. I'm with you. Get the beautiful, healthy smile you deserve at Corinth Dental. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures that will result in a beautiful, long-lasting smile. From routine checkups to advanced treatment, including implants and Invisalign, Corinth Dental is here to help you achieve your smile goals. Schedule your appointment today. Take the first step toward a better version of yourself. It's corinthdental.com. I'll have a what he said, what he meant up today. I can't imagine what Lane's going to say that he didn't say last night.
He's going to talk about Georgia is what he's going to do.
We did it yesterday.
You want to put 5 on it?
No, I mean, I know you're right, but we did it yesterday. Anyway, if you're a displaced corporate executive wanting to put your career in your own hands, or you're an experienced entrepreneur wanting to diversify, Andy Ludicky can help. He's a longtime Rivals board member, college football fan, franchise veteran. He owns multiple franchises and businesses. He uses his expertise to help others find their American dream through a very thorough and free consultation process. So call Andy, put your life and your career in your own hands. It's 100% free. You've got nothing to lose. Find your perfect franchise at myperfectfranchise.net or 404-973-9901. Brought to you by Parrish Brewing Company, located in the heart of Cajun country in Broussard, Louisiana. Their simple goal is to make awesome craft brewed beer, and they do it. They do it really, really well. They've got the Dr. Juice. It's their new go-to IPA. It's dry hopped, the blend of their favorite hand-selected hops from the Yakima Valley. It's a drinkability sneaky good. Clocks in at 6% ABV. It's kind of fruity, as you would expect. Frosted haze, soft mouthfeel. It's really, really good. And then there's Ghost in the Machine, the best beer in the history of the planet. It is a double IPA. It's brewed with obscene quantities of hand-selected Citra hops from their favorite farm in Yakima Valley, Washington. Expect pungent grapefruit aromas and flavors, tropical fruit, less harsh bitterness than most IPAs. Again, that's Parrish Brewing Company, wherever you buy your beer. I'll have a mailbag to you on Wednesday that's brought to you by Art Hayes of Sotheby's International Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, put the power of Sotheby's to work for you. As a licensed agent with Sotheby's and a supporter of all things Ole Miss, Art can help you buy or sell in your hometown or anywhere in the world at no charge to you. Seriously. So call and ask him how. 612-805-5929 or email art at arthur.hayes@lakesmn.com. And we'll have picks to you on Thursday, brought to you by Kaiser Flooring. We all did horribly last week. Actually, Luker was 500. Everybody else sucked. Brought to you by Kaiser Flooring. Locations in Oxford and Batesville. They provide outstanding quality flooring products, installation services to residential and commercial properties. Kaiser Flooring carries the best in hardwood, laminate, tile flooring, as well as carpeting. Their goal is to offer amazing and durable flooring products, superior services to make your life easier. It's KaiserFlooring.com.
The men's clinic is located in Madison and Brandon. Look, I've been a client for a few weeks now. Starting to feel a lot different. We're going to get into some of the reasons why. We're going to compare some blood work. We're going to look at some very obvious scientific things that have made that be the case, because not just some testosterone meal. You get all the blood work done. They look at you. They develop a plan. See what you need, not just for now, but later as well, because their mission really about is making you realize the absolute best version of yourself. They want the patients to be as healthy and as strong as possible throughout the aging process. So not just now, but even 10, 15 years down the road, how they can help you out. That's in Madison, 601-607-7869, or that is themanthing.com. Make an appointment today. They can work on you from wherever you are following that first appointment. So whether it's difficulty sleeping, belly fat, slow sex drive, decreasing muscularity, low energy levels, and much more, that's themanthing.com. All right. Got to have an intervention for a second. Why are we so worked up about an 8 week absence for your boy Chet?
Oh, he's checking
8 to 10 weeks.
Checking in at 8 to 10 weeks. He broke his hip. He's not playing again this year.
Oh, he will too.
No, he's
the
done.
Entire internet says 8, 10 weeks.
He's done. The Thunder are very cautious.
But you thought that even before they announced the result last night.
Well,
you went into panic mode very quickly.
I
saw
heard
it too. Yeah,
I heard it. I was grilling. I heard the sound. He's done.
Might even be a good thing if he comes back in like February.
It might be a good thing for me because I was already watching too much of it and I'm turning it off. I've got a resolution that I'm already kind of working on.
Why? It's the one thing you enjoy.
Yeah, but I watch too much of it. I'm gonna spend what I like. Think about it. I got like what 1/3 of at most of my life left. I'm spending it watching basketball players. I'd be better off doing other things.
He fractured his pelvis, Avery. That's the official determination.
Yes.
She was asking, he broke his hip.
Yes.
Yeah. He has a fractured pelvis, to the best of my knowledge.
He came down on his right side.
That's correct.
Hard.
Somebody come under him?
No, he met Aaron Wiggins at the rim and kind of lost his balance.
CJ asking, I intentionally did not watch that injury because I think it was awful.
It was bad.
But Chad Dunn, I don't know, because I was reading some doctors saying at least he did not have, and I'm going to get the word wrong, it was a clean break of the fibula and tibia. Chad Kelly last night during the Toronto Argonauts playoff game.
Yep.
It was a clean break of his lower leg on both bones. It did not have the, I think sheathing was the word they used, but the tearing that happened to Alex Smith. So it's not as bad in that way, but it is highly significant injury. I couldn't watch because they described it as he stood up somehow. Adrenaline is one powerful damn thing. And they described it as holding his leg together. Was the way they described it.
Don't.
I intentionally went nope. I don't want to see it.
I'm just telling people out there, don't, unless you just are gruesome, don't do that to yourself. It was bad. I would guess that was the end of his football career. I don't wish that on him, but that would be my guess.
Similar to the Treadwell injury, probably would be my best description.
Yeah, I don't remember Laquan's. Was Laquan's both?
I don't recall exactly.
You'd think I'd remember because Laquan's was more close to at his ankle.
Yeah, it was.
This was higher up on the leg.
Detroit won a hell of a football game last night. Came back, won in overtime. Well, maybe it went overtime, maybe it's not. But anyway, 26-23. They're down 23-7 at half.
I had a football-free Sunday. It wasn't
football?
intentional, but I was trying to get 10 thoughts done before I ran. And so I got 10 thoughts done at about a little after noon. And so I went for my run. I taped a podcast at 3. And then Lane was supposed to be at 6, but he ended up being at 4:30. And then I grilled, and then the Chet thing happened, and so I never watched football.
Did you turn all TV and stuff off after that?
Yeah, I didn't watch another play. Once he went down, I knew what it was, and I turned it off.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I'm like, that's it. I've been looking for a sign. There it was.
Still think you're coming back when he actually gets back.
He will not play again this year.
You feel pretty certain on this. I was looking for an ESPN code because ESPN makes it impossible to log into your account these days.
They're going to check back in 10 weeks is what it said. Not that he's going to play in 10 weeks. The Thunder are incredibly cautious. They'll be out of it by then, and they'll do the cautious thing, which is probably the right thing. So, no, he won't play again this year. So I'm dribble free.
He's going to play again this year.
No, he won't. I'll put a 5 on that.
Okay.
I mean, 10 weeks is into the 3-month range. So December, January, February, no, he won't come back and play. They'll be super cautious. They're incredibly cautious as an organization.
They are.
Which is probably the right way to be. No, he won't play.
Okay. Say so. You're saying, I mean, just
if you told me that he's never a good basketball player again, I would buy it.
You think it was that serious?
Yeah. Hips.
Pelvis.
Okay.
I know, but where's the break at? Like, there's a difference.
Well,
I would rather.
What I read was hip yesterday from Chams.
Okay.
And if it's hip, he's probably never the same player again.
Yeah, I don't know who reported this. I was looking here. I was about to say, surely it's on the freaking timeline. Yeah, pelvic fracture, right iliac wing fracture, which is hip, right? I mean,
I think.
I'm not a doctor.
No.
In any capacity, but the worst part for me when I was wondering what happened was just the quotes from the players not really having a lot of positivity regarding it.
Yeah. Well, they knew. And they know what it means.
Played all 82 last year.
Yeah, he was great. So. Just kind of is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Lane is speaking today.
My 2025 resolution is going to be to watch a lot less sports.
So what are you going to do?
Read. Yeah. Do other things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Spend way too much time staring at a screen. Way too much.
Because you used to read more than you do now.
Yeah, and I'm going to get back into it. Do other things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm 54 years old. I've watched way too much sports. Way too much. Way too much. And I don't love it the way other people do. I mean, I do it because it's like work, and I don't know that it's necessary.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do as much. Like, I'm much more interested in not even politics, not like races, but like policy and stuff. I'm more interested in things that actually impact lives. I'm not sure that the Oklahoma City Thunder actually really, truly impact my existence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this wasn't, and I will say that what happened to him was not the Tua injury.
No.
Because he wasn't going to have blood flow issues and any of that stuff.
I mean, I don't think so.
To the best of my knowledge. There is a difference there, just kind of reading the stream a little bit.
The Tua injury was a dislocation.
Yeah.
This was a fracture.
Right.
I mean, they were. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it's treated differently.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know whether this requires surgery or
fibula for Treadwell. Somebody said. I'll take your word for it. So. Yeah, Nick Fitzgerald was an asshole on Twitter last night.
What did he do? Something about Chad or something?
Yeah, I made a sarcastic comment about Chad getting hurt.
Jesus, man.
He still thinks Ole Miss broke his leg on purpose. It's like it was a freaking normal tackle.
Yeah, that's God bless you.
Been holding on to that for a while. I mean,
I don't know anybody over there. I have no grudge to pick, but that's the weirdest damn place. Not everybody.
No.
I mean, like the young guys that are doing our show on MPW, they're great. They are really steady. He puts out I think it's a really strong product considering they're covering a really bad team.
Yeah. Brian and Robbie do a good job.
Yeah.
Good guys.
But there's just some people over there that are just And I'm sure if I was on the outside looking in, I would say the same about, yeah. But wow.
Because it feels like it comes departmentally outward. That's the oddity.
Yeah.
It feels like it comes departmentally outward. That's the difference in the strange thing.
Nobody intentionally broke his leg.
No.
I don't know that players are good enough to do that.
In a normal tackle,
it just happened.
Big people running and doing things, and stuff happens. Leg gets caught, gets grabbed.
Yeah, that wasn't a thing.
I did see that. Yeah, Rose Bowl was sitting in Santa Claus's lap asking for an Egg Bowl win. I did see that.
Apparently that's Santa Claus. Like, how much do you get paid to be a Santa Claus?
Probably not much, unless it's like Macy's or something.
I mean, there should be there's some issues there. That's not what you sign up for.
That's not what you had expecting coming into the day, was it?
You expect little Johnny and little Jenny to come in and tell you that they want the wicked something. A bicycle.
Elphaba. That's right.
Sure.
It's my favorite musical.
Yeah. That's not what you sign up for.
No. So, all right, we'll close there. I don't know how else to move away from it. So we will be back tomorrow. Another edition of the show. Lane Kiffin is speaking. I think it's going to be very repetitive, guys. I would not really be looking forward to much today from a press conference standpoint, if I'm just being honest and trying to make use of your time in a quality fashion. But we'll have more podcasts, MPW Digital, or a couple other shows up this morning as well. So hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful week, bye week for Ole Miss, and we'll talk to you again on Tuesday.